On this video, I'm going to be reading 2 Timothy chapter 4, 1 to 5 in the Greek text, and then doing a grammatical analysis with commentary. This is Paul's final charge to Timothy about the need of preaching the word, keruxon ton logon. So as I read it, we pick it up at verse 1. Dia marturamai anopian tu theou, kai Christou Jesu, tu melantas klinen, zontas kai necrus, kai tain epiphanean autou, kai tain basilean autou. I am charging you before God and Christ Jesus, who is about to judge the living and the dead, and his manifestation and his kingdom. And he's going to go on to say, preach the word. Dia marturamai is your present indicative middle, first person singular from dia marturamai. So I am charging you before God and Christ Jesus, and nopion takes the genitive case here, the preposition with tu theou kai Christou Jesu, who is about. Tu melantas is your present from melo. It's the present active participle, genitive singular from melo, who is about to judge the living and the dead. Klinen is from klino. It's the present active infinitive from klino, who is about to judge zontas. Here we have a participle from zao, a present participle active accusative plural from zao, who is about to judge the excuse me, who is about to judge the living and the dead. Again, zontas is your present active participle accusative plural from zao, and his manifestation, kaitain epiphaneon, and his manifestation and his basileon, his kingdom. Notice here, epiphaneon is a noun in the accusative feminine singular that means appearance and is used of the appearance of a god manifesting himself. So who is about to judge the living and the dead ones, and his manifestation and his kingdom. That is, Christ is going to appear and come back. And in light of that, which will introduce his kingdom, his eternal kingdom, in light of that, Paul is giving Timothy instructions to preach the word. So we go to verse 2, and the Apostle Paul then continues in verse 2. He says, Keruxon ton logon, epistethi eukairos akairos, elexon, epitimeson, parakalason, en passe makrathumia, kai didake. Preach the word. Keruxon is your aorist active infinitive from kerusu, second person singular. So preach the word or herald the word. Epistethi hukairos akairos. Be instant. Be ready. This word has the idea to stay at one's post. Be at the task that God has called you to do, Timothy. And the form here is an aorist passive imperative from aphistemi, to take one's stand, to be doing what one is called to do, to be at the task of preaching the word. So take your stand, or be at your stand. Aorist passive imperative, again, from aphistemi. Take your stand, you kairos, when it is a good time and when it is not. In other words, you kairos, akairos, two adverbs describing that when it is suitable, a good time, in these adverbs, and when it is not suitable. So, or inconvenient. In other words, you're to be faithful at each time, whether it's a good time, a suitable time, or a non-suitable time. Not a good time. In other words, it doesn't matter. The task is the same. Elexon, epitimeson, reprove, epitimeson. Elexon is from eleko. It is the aorist imperative, singular, masculine singular, from ekleko, and it means aorist active imperative, and it means to actually to reprove, to turn the light on in one's preaching and teaching. So reprove, epitimeson, rebuke, epitimao, another aorist active imperative from epitimao, reprove and rebuke, exhort, parakaleson, aorist active imperative from parakaleo, so exhort. In other words, rebuke, and this has to do with like encourage, admonish, exhort. In passe makrathumia, in all long suffering, kai didake, and teaching or doctrine. So one is to exhort with long suffering and doctrine or teaching. For the time will come, estai gar kairas hate tes hukianuses didaskalias uk anexantai ala katatas idias epithumias autois episorususin didaskalus kenethamenoi ten akain. That is, for the time shall be. This is the future indicative active third person singular from Amy. For the time shall be when healthy doctrine they shall not hold to. Notice here that we have hukianuses is from hukiaino. It's the aorist participle, genitive feminine singular, from hukiaino. In other words, the doctrine active, it's an active participle. When healthy doctrine or healthy teaching, they shall not, anexantai is your future indicative active, a third person plural from aneko. That is, future indicative middle from aneko. They shall not bear up or endure a healthy doctrine, but according to their own lusts, katatas idias epithumias, to themselves they shall heap. Autois episorusosin didaskalus, they shall heap to themselves teachers. This is from the root episoruo, it's the future indicative active third person plural, to heap upon. That is, they shall uh, heap upon themselves teachers, kene thaminoi tain al kain, teaching who, because they have itching hearing. Kinethaminoi is your present participle middle from kinethami, because they shall heap teachers having itching ears. In other words, they really want teachers that will tickle their hearing, that will scratch their hearing, and teach things that are not true, that are mis, that are false. And what Paul is warning Timothy of is that time will come when this will happen. So, Timothy, you be faithful to teach the word, kerux anton logon. And that's applicable to us today. We need to be attentive to doing one thing, and that is to preach the word. And there's no time when one does not do that. And he says there will be a time when people will heap to themselves teachers that will tickle the ears and teach them what they want to hear. And they will turn from the truth. Notice kai apamin tes aletheas tain archein. They're going to turn from the truth, and from the truth they shall turn their hearing. From apostrepho, future indicative active here, third person plural, in apostrepsusin. So they will turn the hearing from the truth, away from the truth. Epidetus muthus ektrapesantai, and they shall be turned unto mis. Here we have the future indicative passive in ektrapesantai from the root ektrepo. So they will turn their hearing from the truth. They will turn away from present indicative passive. I guess we could take this. They shall be turned away. They shall turn away from their hearing, future indicative active, third person plural from apostrepho, and shall be turned unto mis. Ektrapesantai is the future indicative passive from the root to be turned, from the root ektrepamai. They shall be turned unto mis. They'll be turned unto things that aren't true, what they want to hear. But Paul then says, Sude nephe in pasin, but you be sober in all things. Notice, you, Timothy, don't be like that. You be sober in all things. Nepho is your nephe is your present imperative, second person singular from nepho. So you be sober in all things. Kaka pathesan, endure hardship. This is from kaka patheo, the aorist imperative, masculine, second person singular from kakapatheo. So you suffer hardship, if need be, Timothy, by being faithful to preach the word. Ergan poiesan euangelistu. That is, Do the work of an evangelist. Poieson is from poieo. It's another aorist imperative, second masculine singular. So do the work of an evangelist. Entain diakonian su plera pharesin. That is, make full proof of your ministry. Here we have the aorist imperative again from plera phareo, second person singular, aorist active imperative. So make full proof. That is, complete or carry out to the fullest the ministry that you've been called to do. So this is a beautiful exhortation that Paul is giving to Timothy that really can apply to all preachers and teachers of the word. That is, to keruxan ton logon, to preach the word, to be instant in season whenever it's convenient and whenever it's inconvenient, and to be faithful to preach that word, for the time will come when there will be a turning away from healthy doctrine, and people will turn away wanting teachers to itch their ears, and will turn unto myths, that which are things that are not true. But you, Timothy, and that's an exhortation to all teachers of the word and preachers today, be sober in all things, endure hardship, do the work of an evangelist, share the good news of Christ as an evangelist would, and make full proof your ministry. That is, complete your ministry and fulfill it in doing what God has called those who are called to teach and preach to do.